Kaizen, and I was going through my videos from Residency and realized that I did not do a video in Phoenix for day 5, and it's been a few weeks since I've been home, so I thought I'd go ahead and do that now to kind of recap since things are still kind of fresh in my mind from that week. Day 5 was actually a lot easier of a day. We came into a conference room with everybody who was at Residency, and we received some words of wisdom, which I think might change from topic to topic or from person to person, but the topic and the words that we were able to receive was on being determined to finish the degree, finish through the dissertation process, which is going to be very, very challenging, but also to be very, very strict and very I don't know if the word diligent, but trying to think of a better word, but kind of loyal, I guess, if you will, to the APA manual, which we're using 6th edition currently. There was a lot of stories about how in their dissertation phase, going back and forth between a chair, that a lot of the back and forth can be reduced if the student is doing their part to make sure that they have their ducks in a row when it comes to formatting the paper, citing correctly, giving correct references, and things like that. So I would definitely recommend getting a hold of the actual manual. There are apps and there are some ebooks online. I actually found one, and I recommend, let me grab mine here from my bookshelf. I have the spiral bound version of this. This was a spiral bound on here so that it allow you to lay the book flat like this without ruining the bindings. And so I think I got it on Amazon. I don't remember the price. Maybe it wasn't Amazon. Maybe I got it directly from the APA. But it's a pretty easy find online. After that conversation, which was really good, we broke and went into the classroom, and we actually combined our class with another class, and our instructor gave us what they called the shock and awe moment, which for us in the class wasn't as terrifying as the other class that came and joined us. Looking back and seeing how other people responded and talking to other students in other classes, I've come to the realization that our class was maybe a little bit more challenging, a little bit more basic training-y, maybe like infantry style basic training, not like support basic training, which can be a little bit different. And it really helped prepare us a little bit more. I say that meaning I saw a lot of other students able to go to enjoy the pool or go out to eat other places and spend time with family if they brought them, which I guess you can do. I wouldn't recommend it, but especially if you're going to really, maximize your time while you're there. Family, not that they're a distraction, but they could be a distraction during that week, if you know what I mean. We love our families, but I think that's understandable what I mean by that. But for the most part, our class, we never got out early, and we had about 4 to 6 hours of homework every night if you were to apply yourself the way I think our instructors wanted to apply ourselves. So for me, it was the most challenging and the most rewarding academic experience I've ever gone through. And I'm saying that even as a teacher, as a professor. I love to teach. I love the structure organization that I put my students through. I definitely believe in giving them their money's worth. In fact, I tell them when they get into my class that if this was a restaurant and they're expecting to buy a $5 hamburger, I'll take their $5, but I'm going to give them a $20 hamburger, kind of the exceed expectations kind of a thing. But also because I teach art, film specifically, but in the arts, nobody's trying to break down your door after you graduate just because you have a piece of paper that's going to say, make my next movie, here's a couple $1 million. You really need to prove yourself. So I afford my students the opportunity to be successful and to have that kind of environment where they can be pushed and strive for that success. And it made me appreciate what we went through in residency, because I feel like my class was kind of that same mentality. So So that was really, really good. So back to the shock and awe moment. What our instructors did was we worked backwards from our anticipated graduation date, and based off of kind of worst case scenario numbers or most likely case scenario numbers, maybe policy numbers, we looked at each of the steps working backwards to getting our dissertation done. And what I mean by worst case, usual case, or policy case scenarios is, let's say your final approval from the dean. The dean's going to sign off your paper or sign off your dissertation. Then they have a week or 2 week turnaround to be able to do that. And if they take the full time to do that, well, then if your anticipated graduation date is, say, March of 2020, then we need to go back 2 weeks and say that's when we turn it in. And then what's the step before that? We take that time and go backwards and backwards and backwards, and eventually we're going to get to what we concluded is we needed to start our dissertation about 6 months ago. That's like when I started the program. Well, I started the program 8 months ago. I'm only in my 5th class, so I didn't even barely know about anything back then. So the nice thing is we got to see that and kind of get a reality check. Now, some of the students that came in from other classrooms to that were very nervous. We had one person that was crying because that was stressing them out a little bit. And that's okay. I think that reality check is necessary and to see where people are going to go. However, at the end of that whole ordeal, we started to talk about ways to kind of mitigate those numbers and how to reduce them, ways to work on something while something's being waited on. If we allow the worst case or the standard case or the policy case, I'm just making up that word, policy case, I've never heard it before, but if we allow that to stop us from further progression on something else that we can be working on, then we're going to start to see that things are going to slow down. And what they mean by that is, let's say, for example, you're waiting to get something approved, and you need to get that thing approved, but you can still be working on something else. Let's say your prospectus, you need to get that approved. Well, while you're waiting for that approval, start your proposal. Start chapters 1, 2, and 3. Even if you have to make big changes, at least you've gone through it. You know where those things are and how to make those changes. After that, we presented our 10 strategic points. In our class, we had to have everything memorized. We had to demonstrate that we knew what we were talking about, that we were able to use doctoral vocabulary, and have a mastery and a command of our subject that was not just on a piece of paper, not on any note cards, but if we couldn't actually know exactly what we're saying, then we needed to at least sound like we knew what we were saying, as if we were engaging in conversation on a doctoral level. I can't say that I know everything that I'm talking about yet. My background is in the arts. My bachelor's and my master's are both in the arts, and I never had to do any research or any large thesis papers while I was in school. So this process is definitely new to me. So while I understand qualitative and quantitative research, I've never participated in it before, and statistics is something that is not in my wheelhouse. I've never taken a statistics class in my life. I had to take there was an online class through Harvard that was recommended to get into GCU, and that was pretty tough for me not having that in the background. I had to hire a tutor. But when it comes to industry terminology, at least for statistics, I'm kind of regurgitating words, and hopefully I'll be able to fully comprehend and understand what those are by the time I kind of get through those classes to make that happen. So after we were done with that, we were done about noon. We all separated, took a picture, and for us, we stayed in touch. We created a Facebook page. All of us everyone in my class joined. I try to post at least once or twice a week with progress. Things like using the Thinking Storm website, which I think I talked about in a previous video journal here about the day. But if you don't know what that is, please reach out to the library. It's great for making sure that your writing is improving. You'll get a lot of feedback. and just had a lot of fun, and I hope everyone else has a lot of fun. I'm excited for the second part of residency, which comes from my program in the technology and learning track is a little bit later. So for me, it'll be about a year from now. However, I am taking the advice of my instructor, who said to come out as early as possible, and so I'm going to try to come out 6 months early. And my advisor had already said that they can work my schedule to make that happen, and possibly let me take I'm not sure the number, but it's the class where we create the prospectus, just like how we had a class for us. It was Theories of Inquiry, where we started to delve into the 10 strategic points before coming to residency. Now, I would prefer now going through this process of taking those classes after residency. I don't feel like they prepared me very well. They gave me a cursory introduction to the paperwork, and at the end I did all the steps. I followed everything that I thought that I was doing right, and I submitted that work, and I ended up getting an A in the class. But then when I bring that to residency, I realize that I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm not using it correctly. So it'd be nice to have that kind of kick in the butt before going through that class, so that you can come out of it with a very, very, very solid prospectus and ready to go. But I don't know if this is going to translate the same when we do the second residency class like it did in this first one. Anyways, I hope these videos were helpful. They were. I was looking for some insight into this process, and I couldn't find any. It might exist, I just couldn't stumble upon it. So I'm hoping that some people will be able to find this, and at least find my experience to be enlightening and rewarding for you. Good luck, work hard, and make it happen. Take care. Bye.